And we are back for another casual conversation with the classic. And today, guys, I have a very special guest with me. It is none other than, you might remember him as Ashante, the Adonis of Hit Row, Tehuti Miles. How are you doing today? We are here. We made it.
Man, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. A little tired. Just got in last night from Chicago. Delayed flights and all that stuff, but I'm doing good, man. Got my coffee right here and everything. So
same here. I had to make sure I got my coffee before we did this. I want to be alive for this, but I'm actually really excited for this because I recently interviewed Swerve. I've known Swerve for a bunch of years. I recently interviewed Swerve, and even a little bit after that, I interviewed AJ, and both of them spoke very highly about you. And the one thing they both said was that, man, like, Tehuti has a story, but nobody really knows it yet. And we never got to a point in the WWE with even Hit Row where we really got to share Tehuti's story. And here we are. And I want you to share that story because now even I'm intrigued. I'm like, I interviewed two people that you were recently with when it comes to Hit Row and the Hitmakers, and they both put you over as this person with this amazing story.
Well, I appreciate them for that.
Yeah. So I don't even know where to start, but like I usually like to start with the main question, I guess, because it's the wrestling classic. But what were your earliest memories of professional wrestling? Like what got you into professional wrestling? Like, were you a lifelong fan, or was this something you picked up later?
No, I've always been a WWE fan. Ever since I was, man, I don't even know, like 8, 9, 10 years old, something like that. So I grew up poor and stuff like that, and we lived in a 2-bedroom apartment, and there was 6 of us living there and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, and so one of my cousins, he's older than me. He's really into wrestling, and when he lived with us, he would always watch Raw and SmackDown, and so like me and my brother would sit down and watch it with him. And totally fell in love with it, watching it with him and stuff. And I was like, man, this is the best. And ever since then, like 8, 9, 10 years old, I've always been like, this is what I want to do.
Was there anybody specifically that caught your eye, or that was like, that's your guy that inspired you to an extent?
Oh, Eddie Guerrero, definitely.
Okay, yeah. What was it about Eddie that really stood out to you?
Man, he's an entertainer, man. He could do everything. I guess we'll get into my beliefs on wrestling and all that stuff. But man, he's just a guy that could do everything, man. He could talk on the mic, he could entertain you, he could wrestle, he could work, he's all the above. You know what I'm saying? They say they always looking for people with the it factor. Eddie Guerrero definitely had it.
So I know for a fact, like I grew up with a bunch of cousins, and I also grew up in a cul-de-sac with a bunch of friends. And I know they say don't try it at home. You just said you were in a 2-room apartment with 6 people. Did you guys try this at home? Did you guys?
Absolutely. Man, me and my brother even still to this day do that.
Yeah.
Like we play like fake wrestle. All that stuff, like we do, man. To this day, we still do that, man. So, and my cousins too. So,
do you have like your own character, or would you like be the wrestlers that you saw on screen?
Like,
when you play wrestling as a child, did you create your own character at that time, or were you like being Eddie Guerrero, or were you being The Rock?
No, I think I created my own character.
All right,
nation, yeah.
Did you take that with you when you started pursuing wrestling?
No, because my perception of wrestling when I was a kid is totally different than actually understanding it now. Yeah. So, I feel like it's just completely different now. So,
did you ever find it fascinating that when we were kids and we'd like play wrestle, like we'd kind of be like talking to each other, we'd be like, okay, now you come at me and stuff now, and it's like, oh wow, like, gotta realize what was going on there.
Yeah, it's don't even know that like you're actually kind of doing what they do on TV, communication and stuff. That
I always thought about them like that's so funny. I'm like, we'd be doing that, but like we thought we were like pretending. Moving forward though, you didn't go into wrestling directly. You have this whole story of before you started pursuing wrestling. What led you to join the army and all of that there?
Oh, so Oh man, do you want me to just start from like my whole
Start where it makes sense, because there's a story that we're supposed to know, and I want to
Okay.
hear it.
All
Who
right,
is Tehuti Miles?
I've been doing performing arts, and I've been performing in front of crowds since I was a kid, man.
Oh wow! What'd you
Yeah,
start with?
my mom is the director of her own African dance company, and
Oh
she has
wow!
been for like 30 years, 30 plus years or something like that. So I used to dance and drum, African drum and African dance uh in her what's it called? Her performances and stuff, her shows and everything. So that's where I started. So also like at a young age, like I got over that stage fright and
Yeah,
everything like that. So I will perform in front of hundreds of people pretty almost every weekend sometimes, all over like New Jersey and New York and stuff like that. But so I started then, and then I kind of got out of that. As a kid, I was like growing up, I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, like dancing's for girls and stuff like that. But like
yeah,
me thinking now, like, no, it's not. But
yeah,
as a kid, I was thinking that, so I kind of got away from it. Um, and then so like in high school, um, I started I started my senior year of high school 16, so everybody was older than me. And everybody like knew what they wanted to do after they graduated and stuff, and I didn't at all.
yeah,
And like I knew I didn't want to go to school at the time. I was not a school person at all. Like I hated school,
yeah,
so like I'm definitely not going to college. And so I was just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And one of my cousins, he's a year older than me. He graduated a year before me, and he
yeah.
had went into oh, I got that same hat.
Yeah, there you go. Everyone's got the
Yeah.
same hat. It's not just that. Yeah.
um, so he graduated a year before me, and he decided to go in the Air Force. Both of his parents were in the Air Force. So, my senior year, he was graduating Air Force boot camp. And so me, my brother, his parents, and his brother flew down to San Antonio to go see him at his Air Force graduation and stuff like that. And so the whole time his parents were like, yeah, this is how the military is, this is the lifestyle and all this stuff. And then listening to them, and then being there and being on the base and seeing how everything's done in the lifestyle and everything like that, and the benefits of it and everything, I was just like, oh man, like this might be something I want to do.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to join the Air Force because I'm a very physical person, so I like more of a physical challenge. And I've always heard that the Air Force isn't as physically challenging as the others, like Army and Marines. So at first I want to join the Marines, but then after talking to some recruiters, um, they were saying that like there's not as much like job opportunity, for me to pick my job like opportunity and stuff like that. So I was like, I don't want to get a random job that I don't like. You know what I'm saying? So I was like,
Yeah.
let me talk to Army Recruiter. So I talked to Army Recruiter and everything like that, and ended up joining the Army. 17 years old. I think I went in October 2008 after I graduated in 2008.
Oh, so there wasn't even that much time. Like you
Nah,
graduated probably like in June. And
yeah,
then by October, you were a little confused what you want to do after high school. Like, and I think that's normal for everybody. I know myself, I don't even think I'm doing what I got my degree in anymore, technically. But like, it's a tough decision, right? A lot of people take general studies or take that year off. You
yeah.
went to the Army by October.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it just couldn't like that. I had time, a little bit of time to think about it, but like I started after I went to my cousin's graduation. I started uh, doing my research and everything like that, and I was like, man, this looks like fun. This looks really challenging and stuff like that. And but at the time, I had never shot guns or anything like that, so I was just like, this sounds interesting and stuff. So yeah, I ended up joining in 2008, and that, and boot camp was that was not fun.
Yeah.
I can tell you that right now, it was not fun. I think I was like, I think I went there like 180 pounds, and I came back 169 pounds.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I wasn't even that big, so it's like
Yeah.
crazy because they like they sleep deprive you and they food deprive you. So like you're not you do look like when I was in, you literally had 30 seconds to eat. As soon as the last person sat down at the table, drill sergeant was like 30 seconds go, and you just got to
You had 30 seconds to
30
eat.
seconds. Yep, you got to scarf down as much as you can. 30 seconds up. Okay, get outside, and then they smoke you. And smoking means like they make you. They just. I'm allowed to curse on here.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
casual.
they beat the shit out of you. Not like physically, but like push-ups, like and just everything to like wear you down. They would do
just
that.
insane drills.
Yeah, just like because like you would eat whatever, and then they'd make you burn all those calories just right there, right after. And then
this is really different from performing and dancing, and now you're doing this.
Yeah.
Did it make you miss the performing, or?
I mean, I don't remember, to be honest. I'm sure I was like, man, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
For like sleep deprivation, if that's a word, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Like for example, like if we weren't in the field, let's just say lights out was like 9 p.m. They would literally almost every night, like if lights out was 9 p.m., they'd wake us up at 10:30, get outside, smoke us for an hour and a half, go back inside, go to sleep. Let's say now it's 11:30. They wake you up at midnight, go back outside, smoke you for an hour and a half, go back inside. Now it's 1:30, 2:30 comes around, get outside, smoke you for an hour, go back inside. And they'd be like that for days. like yeah, so you'd be like barely getting to sleep, and then they're physically draining you, mentally draining you, it's all everything. They're literally trying to. I mean, it makes sense. They're literally trying to weed out the weak. Like you can't have people that are not mentally tough. It is what it is. It's more mental than physical. Like your brain can go. You can go farther than you think. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then I ended up going to Afghanistan in March 2010 to March 2011. So 12 months. I was in a recon unit, Cav Scout recon unit, in 10th Mountain Division, which is up in Fort Drum, New York.
Yeah.
And it's actually, I've heard the most deployed regular Army unit. And man, that I can tell you that Afghanistan was definitely an experience. That was back when Obama had sent the extra 100,000 troops to Afghanistan. I was one of that 100,000. And man, that was an experience, man. I tell you what, I learned pretty much everything that I like apply in my life now from that deployment, man. It's just I learned how short life can really be. And I feel like a lot of people don't really understand that because they don't. It's all about perspective, you know what I'm saying? People only know what they know,
Yeah.
And seeing this, like I was 19 when I was deployed to Afghanistan, and there was a guy that slept next to me, and he died at 18.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that the the truck that he was in got blown up by an IED, and I was supposed to be in that truck, but I got switched out last minute. So
wow.
Yeah, literally like last minute, right before they went out.
So you saw like combat, like this was like
yeah.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I've definitely fought against Taliban and stuff. Yeah.
At 19 years old.
At 19 years old, I've been shot at, blown up, all that stuff, man.
I don't mean to cut you off, but you went into this never having shot a gun before, not necessarily not being into that kind of stuff, but just never in that environment whatsoever. You grew up, around a lot of family. You grew up, performing, and then you decided you didn't know what you want to do after high school, and you want to give this a shot. You went through this insane amount of boot camp training that was, putting you through sleep deprivation and teaching you how to survive technically. And then wow, that's actually like, wow. And then you were in combat. Okay, go on. So I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought I'd pop that up so people listen to this kind of understand like how crazy this is, and you did this all before 19.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, the military does a really good job of preparing you for that. Like, obviously, nothing compares to actually being in combat, but
100%.
they do a pretty good job of preparing you for it. I mean, there's a drill you do in boot camp where they shoot bullets over your head, and you gotta low crawl and stuff like that. So it's just like they kind of prepare you for that kind of stuff. But yeah, like, so Afghanistan, man, I think the first time, so I was there, got there in March 2010. Man, the first time we got contact was like June or something like that with the enemy. But honestly, so like I was in a third platoon in Bravo troop and everything like that, and so my platoon, we had the best platoon anyway. We had the best platoon, but
Okay.
but my platoon was away from the other two platoons. Like, we were like miles away from the other two platoons.
Yeah.
And the other two platoons were on the same FOB, or forward operating base. And we were third platoon, my platoon. We were on a FOB by ourselves, and it was only like
So those two were kind of closer together, and you guys were on the.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we only had like 25 people in our platoon, because recon units don't use as many people as like infantry units, even though they pretty much do the same thing.
Yeah.
But so those so the first and second platoon were on the same FOB, and they had, I think, 2 villages to cover each, and so 4 total. My platoon, which was by ourselves, we had 6 villages to cover by ourselves, and so that made us like come in contact with enemy more, because we had more villages to cover. And I think the area we were in was really bad. A lot of IEDs and stuff like that. And if anybody doesn't know, like, if you shot a gun before, guns are extremely loud, but a bomb blowing up is like 10 times louder. Just saying. And then try that without ear protection.
You still, like, it didn't affect your hearing that much, did it?
Oh, no. I lost a little bit of hearing, but like I can still hear, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have tinnitus, which is ringing in the ears, but it doesn't really come from your ears. The doctor said it comes from the back of your brain or something like that. But yeah, I have tinnitus, so it's hard for me to go to sleep. I have sleep problems, man, insomnia and stuff like that. But yeah, so like I'm going all over the place.
No, keep going. This is great.
Yeah.
I just as much as almost anybody else probably listening to this, am learning more about you right now than I've known this entire time. And that's not a knock on anything else. It's just that we never really got to know the story. Now I understand why Swerve and AJ were being like, no, like Tehuti's got a story, like, you know.
I've actually I have the video of, but I'm not going to show, obviously.
No,
but,
of course, yeah.
Yeah, I have the video of the truck that I was supposed to be in blowing up, because there's videos of everything.
Yeah.
And I showed them that, and they were like, holy shit, dude, like, what the fuck? Like, yeah. I'm like, man, I wouldn't be sitting here. Like, I think I showed them in one of the rental cars we were in. I was like, I wouldn't be sitting here with you guys, man.
and I know you mentioned that earlier, but like, how much did that change your perspective on life once you realized that, though?
Man, 100% changed my perspective, man. Like I know Drake says YOLO, you only live once, man. That shit is real. You only live once. So like that's how I approach life. Like, you only live once, so I want to do everything in this life that I can. I don't want to have a mediocre life, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's just not what I want. Like, I want to do everything that I want to, and everything that I can, because life really is short, and I just want to do everything, man, you know? And which I felt like I was getting there. I was getting to like my goals and stuff like that, you know, especially when we got drafted to SmackDown, but we'll get to that.
We're gonna get there.
Yeah. But yeah, Afghanistan, man, like, was man, during Ramadan is when they turned up the shooting at us and stuff. And I don't know if anybody watching has ever been shot at before, but you can feel bullets go by. I've really had bullets go right by my head, and you can feel it. You can feel the force of it go right by you, and it's like, holy shit, like, that could have hit me. Like, if I was over here, you know, a couple inches, that would have hit me, you know, and stuff like that. So it's really intense. It's really but to be honest, like the firefights are kind of an adrenaline rush. They're kind of fun. I'm not gonna lie, because like that's what you train for. So, like you're like you want to like kind of get in, like you want to get in a firefight so you can like feel like you're actually doing your job and stuff like that. But it's like just an adrenaline rush, and like guys like me that have been in the military and done that stuff are like, yeah, that we enjoy that shit, even though it sounds crazy, but like.
So I guess like obviously we'll get to what made you end up leaving that and pursuing other things, but that must be like something, since you've gotten used to that adrenaline rush that you look for every once in a while. You just said like us guys, like we love that adrenaline rush, but like now you're home and you're chilling, or you're back to reality in the regular world that's out of this world of combat and firings and all that stuff. So it's like you must like somewhat search for that adrenaline rush. Am I wrong to think that?
Oh yeah, definitely. So I got into like fast cars and stuff.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Because I look at cars and you're a car guy, and I'm like, in my head right now, as I was asking that question, I'm like, I feel like cars are gonna play into this somehow.
Yeah. So I guess that's kind of how I find that. I have a 2016 Corvette Z06.
Yeah,
it's modified and stuff, and it's pretty fast. Could be faster,
Yeah.
But no, it's pretty fast, and I don't drive it very much, but when I get the itch, I'll take it out, drive around and stuff. I don't do nothing really crazy or anything like that. I just like to, here and there, maybe hit the gas a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
You find that empty strip on the highway late at night.
Yeah, exactly.
Just for a couple of seconds there. You just need that. Oh, okay, yeah, I know.
Yeah. But to be honest, wrestling is wrestling, I guess for the WWE was an adrenaline rush as well. Because like, being in that environment, being in front of those crowds, and, the intensity of like all of that is an adrenaline rush itself. So I really enjoyed that. But yeah,
you were in the military, right?
Yeah.
Where was your like love for wrestling at that point? You're out of high school, you joined the military, you're in Afghanistan. Obviously, it's not a main priority of focus in your life, but were you still a fan at that point?
Oh, absolutely. I can tell you, well, when I was in the military, I probably didn't watch it as much just because,
I
don't think
it was part of the regimen.
Yeah. The job I had, any combat arms job, you don't get as much time, you know what I'm saying? It's like, even when we're back in the States, like we're training, like I can even talk about that. So I was at Fort Drum, upstate New York. So if anybody don't know where that is, everybody says like, oh, Buffalo is upstate New York. It's not, it's Western New York. Like for real, it's Western New York. So like upstate New York, I was about an hour and 20 minutes north of Syracuse. So if you look at the map and you look at like New York and like Vermont, like the northern Vermont, but like over in New York, that's where I was.
Wow.
I was literally
you were upstate.
Literally 30 minutes from the border of Canada.
Seriously.
And so there it snows 9 months out of the year there.
Oh wow.
I remember we got back.
That's probably why they think it snows all the time here in Canada, because it's closer to Canada over on that side. It's snowing all the time. That makes sense.
I remember we got back from training in California for a month, and in that month I couldn't shower for 18 days. We were in the field for that long. I didn't shower for 18 days. So that was nasty, but it is what it is. So we left the first week of August, came back this first week of September to Fort Drum, and there was snow everywhere.
The
first week of September. And then I remember I actually have a video on my computer somewhere of it snowing like crazy in May, like mid-May. It's just snowing. I'm just like but training is also very intense as well, because, and especially it also depends on your leadership, like depending on like what they want to do and stuff. But like I remember when I got back from deployment, my leadership, like my platoon sergeant was like super hardcore. So like we would go out to the field and we would go, man, like we would have to make these hooches. So it's like these little little areas where you sleep. You know what I'm saying? It's like kind of like a tarp, and you put like a bunch of leaves around it and stuff, and it's like held up by a string between like, trees and stuff like that, and you kind of like make it your own like little sleeping area, but it has to be low to the ground and stuff like that. And I remember sleeping in that stuff and like, man, -20
in the snow.
Yeah, sometimes it wouldn't be snow, but like sometimes it would, and just like -20 out there for like when we would go to the field for like 5-6 days at a time, and just try, bro. I can't even, man. I absolutely hate the cold. Like I would wake up and I can't feel my feet, and I'd sleep in three layers of sleeping bag with double socks, all my clothes on and stuff, and I wake up and I can't feel my feet and my legs. It's just that cold, and then you gotta get up and walk around to like get the blood flowing back in your feet and stuff. And then like training wise, like it's also sleep deprivation. So like we would train for 21 to 22 hours a day and sleep for 2 to 3 hours, and then get up the next day, 21 to 22 hours, sleep for 2 to 3. Next day, same thing. So like it's really intense. But yeah, the training is not just as rough, but it's pretty rough too. But yeah, so like I've been in like the extreme heat in Afghanistan. The hottest days, what the thermostat said, y'all gonna believe me or not, the thermostat said for the hottest day when I was out there was 147.
That's wild.
Yeah, in the summer it averaged like 125 during the day, and then like 100 to 110 at night. But I'd rather take that. I take that any day over -20. I tell you that right now. I take that any day. People argue me all the time. Like they're like, I'd rather be cold than hot, and I'm like, nah. You haven't experienced the extremes of both. The freezing cold is miserable. Like the being hot is miserable, but being extremely cold is worse. Like
so this all happened in the span of like 2 years, though, right? Like you were a part of the service for like 2 years, right?
No, I was in for 4.
4 years, okay.
Yeah.
And then 2 of those years you spent in Afghanistan.
No, 1. I spent 12
1
months.
year. Okay, so 1 year in Afghanistan, 4 years in the service. What made you switch gears? Like, what made you have? Like, what was it that made you go back to? It says you went back to university here.
What like made me get out of the military?
Yeah.
Okay, so when I got back from deployment, so during my deployment, my platoon I was talking about, I love that platoon. I love everybody in there. Like they were a great group of guys. Leadership was great. Everything they were perfect. And then when I got back from deployment, I got switched to a different platoon, which is out of my control.
Yeah.
And I honestly didn't like it. My leadership sucked. Let's be honest. You know who you are. My leadership sucked. And to be honest, I would like tell them like, you guys are like trash. Like because I didn't care. Like they needed to be said. They needed to hear that, like, because I had came from a platoon that was like high speed and bunch of studs and I went to a different platoon that all these dudes were turds. Even the leadership, you know what I'm saying? Not all dudes. I'm just saying like the leadership besides the platoon sergeant was like turds. You know what I'm saying? They were shit. And so I would tell them that because they needed to hear it. So they didn't really like me. But but yeah, so like I actually wanted to make the military a career, and I wanted to go special forces, Green Beret. I wanted to do that, and so I talked to there was the special forces recruiters on Fort Drum. So I went to go talk to them, and it's like as soon as you walk in there, they kind of evaluate you, and I didn't even know. So like they evaluating you, ask you questions, and if you say the wrong thing, they're like, nah, this is not for you, get out. But I passed that little part, so I was like, okay.
Oh wow, I thought you were about to tell me that you said the wrong thing, but okay, you passed.
Nah. I was all for that shit, man. I was like, man, I'm gonna do this. So yeah, because I don't know if anybody knows what a Green Beret is. It's a special ops in the Army, basically. It's like a Navy SEAL, but in the Army.
Yeah.
Basically. So The training for that is extremely hard. You have to go through
Yeah.
selection for I think it's like 30 days or something like that. But the dropout rate is extremely high. It's like probably like 70-75% dropout rate. Um, and So you have to go through selection first before you can go to the Q course, which is the qualification course, which can take up for anywhere from a year to 2 years to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, training. Anyways, depending on the job that you choose and stuff. And the special forces recruiters were like, okay, cool. Like, all right, we're gonna have you start working out with us, in the mornings and stuff like that, so we can train you up for selection. I'm like, all right, cool. So, but he's like, oh, well, they were like, yeah, we just need your leadership to sign off on the paperwork so you can just train with us. So I went to my leadership, and of course, they didn't like me.
I was about to say this is the
Yep.
last platoon you adjust with.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah.
They didn't like me, so they basically were like, we're not going to sign off on this paperwork till you get orders saying that you're going to selection, but you don't get orders to the week prior of going to selection. So I can't
Yeah.
expect to train with them for a week and expect to pass selection. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So yeah, they were being assholes. So I actually went up higher than them. I went to the first sergeant, and the first sergeant backed my platoon sergeant. So I was like, man, fuck this, man. After that, man, yeah, and they were like, yeah, well, you can re-enlist and try to go special forces then, or try to do something, try to, whatever. You can re-enlist. And I was like, man, I don't want to sit there and re-enlist and have to deal with this bullshit for another 4 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I'm miserable. So I decided to get out. And I got out, and I was, when I was deciding to get out, I was like, I'm either going to start wrestling training or I'm going to go to school. And I ended up going to school first,
Yeah.
which was the right choice. I think everything happens for a reason. And
I was about to say that because even the situation of how you got out, like maybe that was a blessing in disguise in the long run. Like you had the experience, you enjoyed it, you had this idea of what you wanted to do. You hit a couple of roadblocks, and it led you to go to school, and then obviously you want to get there, but it also led you to eventually get to the wrestling. So
yeah, the shitty thing about it was like I was really good at being a soldier. I shot expert with every weapon.
Yeah.
I had one of the highest PT scores, which is physical training, in the company. Platoon, or not company. It's called troop, but it's company, same thing. But yeah, and I was like high speed. I'm not trying to talk myself up. I was really good at it. So
talk yourself up. Yeah. This is what we get to know.
I hate talking myself. I'm a humble person.
We all hate talking ourselves up. Trust me. We all sell ourselves short. This is the human thing to do. Yeah.
So yeah, it sucked, but I believe I did the right thing. I think everything happens for a reason. Like I could have re-enlisted, got deployed somewhere else, and I might not be talking to you right now.
No, 100%.
Yeah. So everything happens for a reason. So I decided to get out and go to school and started training wrestling training. And so I decided to go to University of Maryland. But before I decided to go there, because I'm from New Jersey.
Yeah.
So I'm not a big fan of New Jersey. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I didn't want to go to school in New Jersey, and I didn't want to. I was like, I can go anywhere. I got my GI Bill and stuff. I can go anywhere. So I think I applied to University of Florida and University of UCLA.
Yeah,
because I was just like, man, I was just gonna go somewhere.
Because the military background does help you get into universities. Like there's a little bit of a
yeah. Especially when you got a GI Bill and the school knows that it's going to get paid for. So
yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah,
everything's about money.
Yeah.
So so like I actually got into those schools, but then I kind of was like, man, I don't know if I actually want to be that far away from family, because I was just like I don't want to be in New Jersey, but like I don't want to be too far away from them, because I was just in the military. You know what I'm saying? And I've been away with them for 4 years and stuff like that. So I decided to go somewhere that was a little bit closer, but not home. So I decided to go to University of Maryland. I got in, and I actually wanted to play football. So I was like, so I started training I actually had met some dude at LA Fitness that used to play for the New York Jets or something like that, and he helped me train up and stuff like that. You know, I played football in high school, but I hadn't played in 4 years.
Yeah.
So he trained me up and stuff, and I ended up walking on the University of Maryland football team in 2013, and I was there. I think there was 13 people who tried out, and I was one of 2 people out of the 13 that got onto the team.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
How much do you think your experience in the military and the training and having that commitment and dedication to training helped you with everything else in the future of your life?
Man, the military has been the foundation of my life, man.
That's what I was gonna say, because we said everything happens for a reason, but that experience I feel like helped you when it came to every other goal you made, because you had this like quality instilled in you to work hard to get what you want.
Everything is the mind. Everything starts with the mindset, man.
Yeah,
it starts with the mindset, and to be honest, a lot of people are weak minded. It is what it is, and but everything starts with the mindset, man. So like, I just approached everything differently. Like people.
What is your mindset going into? Say you're gonna go try to make this football team, and you want to play football. Like, what is your perspective? Like, what's your mindset going into that?
I'm gonna bust my ass every single day and do everything I can to get good enough to make it on this team. I literally I was like throwing the ball like quarterbacks. I was doing wide receiver drills. I was doing running back drills. I was doing DB drills. I was doing everything because I didn't know what the tryout was gonna. I didn't know what I was gonna do during the tryout. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But prepared for everything.
Yeah, I'm prepared for everything. So I just I prepared myself, and I had this dude that was playing for the Jets that helped me too. And a little bit of insight, knowledge and stuff like that, because knowledge is key. So like, just telling myself that I'm gonna do this, and it's the same thing when I got into wrestling. Everybody kept telling me that like, oh, getting into WWE is extremely hard. Okay, I know that. Like that's not gonna stop me. We'll get to the wrestling. But yeah, so I got on the team. And I was super excited. I was like, man, now I got this dream of possibly playing in the NFL. And so I played all 4 years. And I was a walk on. So my freshman year, they just put me all over the place, man, because I was a walk on. My freshman year, I played wide receiver. My sophomore year, I played running back. My junior year, they made me gain weight, and I played running back and fullback, which I think fullback is the worst position. Fullback is the worst position ever. And then my senior year, they made me lose weight, and I played safety, and that was probably the most fun position to play.
Yeah,
safety. But to be honest, like every year that I played, I actually wanted to play less and less. My motivation for it decreased every year, just because the way I was treated. Not saying that I was treated bad, but just saying that like I was treated as a walk-on instead of like being seen as like, oh, this dude can go. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't
see any progression in the spot in a way.
Say again?
You didn't see any progression in your spot in a way.
Yeah, no matter how hard I tried, no matter if I would outdo people in certain things, like even the guys they recruited, if I would outdo them and stuff, like they would see past that because I wasn't the guy they recruited, and that's the shitty thing about it. So, like it's crazy, man. Like I've seen dudes, I've seen dudes that are, like I play with a lot of people that are in the NFL right now, like Stephon Diggs, DJ Moore, JC Jackson. He just got signed to the Chargers with a big deal and stuff like that. I play with all those dudes, and a bunch more. But what was I gonna say? Oh, so there's a lot of there's some dudes that like I've played with that are playing in the NFL currently right now that I've legit, and this goes with the mindset, I've legit seen these dudes quit workouts because they said it was too hard. And this dude's in the NFL. These dudes are in the NFL right now.
Yeah,
it's crazy. And like I was just like, bro, like are you serious? Like and these are the people that are starting games. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
Yeah.
this is the
Yeah.
reason
No, I
why.
get it.
It's the reason why you go 6-6 every year. You know what I'm saying? Because you I mean, I'm just saying, like it's the
Yeah, it's
truth.
not
It is
sour
what
grapes.
it is. What
It's
it is.
frustrating. It's frustrating.
Yeah, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's the truth. Like you got guys, you starting guys that don't have it up here. You know what I'm saying? That will quit on you on the field, but you wonder why you lose games.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
mean, I'm repping Maryland right now.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I ain't got nothing against them. I'm just saying from my experience. You
No,
know what
100%.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, so like it's just that was shitty, and every year that I played, I just wanted to play less and less because of that. No matter how hard I tried, there was always the next year was always a bunch of recruits that came in, a bunch of guys that came in that they recruited, and they would put them over me. No matter how many plays I would make and all that stuff, it just didn't matter.
Yeah.
So there's a shitty feeling, but but with all that said, it was a good experience. I met some good guys. I don't really talk to really anybody from there. But and I know I didn't play with AJ if anybody's wondering. I did
Yeah.
not play with AJ. He actually graduated the year before I started. So
That's crazy. You guys could have crossed paths though in
yeah,
earlier. That would have been nuts. Yeah.
yeah. Um, but yeah, so it was just shitty, man. And the crazy thing is like the strength coaches, knew I was a stud. The strength coaches knew it because like there was one of the strength. So was one the Friday workout we did, and the strength coach knew I'm not a quitter.
Yeah.
He knew it. He knew it. He knew my military background, all that shit. He knew I wasn't a quitter, so he put me with somebody that he knew wasn't gonna quit because the Friday workouts were like brutal.
Mm-hmm.
And so we ended up doing some workout where we had to do like 500 reps of something of a bunch of different stuff each.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he put me with a dude that he knew was going to quit. And he told me, he was like, yeah, if this dude doesn't do his reps, you have to do his reps too, along with yours. And so this dude ended up quitting like not even halfway through. And I ended up doing like 800 reps that day. Yeah. Doing his
Why would he
reps
put you?
and
Why
my
would he
own.
put you in that situation? Was that like a learning lesson for you or the other guy?
I don't think it was a learning lesson for me. I just think he knew that I wasn't gonna quit and that the other dude was gonna quit.
I was gonna like make that evident to other people.
I guess so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Everything's here. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy because like this is like the stuff they do to you in the military. It's like you got to take yourself to another place. Like if they, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're sitting there, you got to do flutter kicks for 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? It sucks. It's gonna hurt. And your body will sometimes physically give out, but for me, I take myself to a different place. Like you ever heard of like people like say take yourself to the beach, you know what I'm saying? So like if I'm going through something like that, I'll take myself to the beach or somewhere that I'm I can enjoy in my imagination, and it helps. You know what I'm saying? That's something I learned in the military going through the shit. So yeah, so I went to school for theater, actually.
Okay. Because I was about to be like, we got to go all the way back to the beginning. You started with performing. You went into the military.
Yeah.
You were someone that liked to get physical. You left the military. You started playing football, so that kept you on the physical aspect of things. What happened to the performing side of things? You haven't performed for the last like 5-6 years.
Yeah.
So you went to school for theater. We got the performing back there. Because realistically, how this is all going to wrap up is you're going to end up joining wrestling, which is a little bit of physicality and performing.
Yep.
But okay, now we're back with the performance. So you're in school for performance. Okay, for theater. Okay,
yeah.
go ahead.
So I ended up doing theater, and to be honest, I didn't at the beginning, I didn't know that if I chose the right major.
Yeah.
But I knew that like I've always wanted to act. So like so going back ever since I was a kid, like I've always had the dream of being in the WWE, since I was a kid. But before I even wanted to be in the WWE, I've always wanted to be an actor in like Hollywood and the movies.
Did you have like a favorite TV show or movie growing up?
Growing up, I can't remember, but I can tell you what mine are now.
Well, okay, sure. What's your favorite movie now?
So I have. I mean, I can't say which one's better. I just have them. So I think I have 2 or 3 movies. Yes, 3 movies. The Departed.
Great movie.
Great cast, great movie.
Great movie.
Interstellar.
Sweet. Yeah.
And a classic, The Terminator.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, sweet.
That
Okay, go ahead. So you're taking theater. You've always wanted to act since you were a kid.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, let me say TV shows too.
Okay, sure.
TV shows, number 1 is Game of Thrones, hands down. I don't care what nobody says.
I'm the only one. I feel like I might be like one of the only people I know from everybody I know that hasn't like fully watched it. I've watched like the first 2 seasons. I'm like behind.
Bro, let me tell you.
And like that's my jam too, because like I'm the kid that grew up reading like the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit and love all that kind of stuff, like the Last Kingdom and Vikings. Like I love all that stuff. I just haven't gotten through Game of Thrones.
I'm gonna tell you right now, it's better than all those.
Okay, I gotta finish it. Yeah,
you know, it's crazy. I can talk about Game of Thrones for days. Like all I'm gonna say is you need to start back from season 1 and watch the whole thing through. You will not be disappointed. It is extremely good. The character, the acting, the storytelling, the writing, the character development, everything. It's amazing. It's amazing.
I don't doubt it. That like I said, that's my genre of stuff that I've enjoyed since I was a kid. I know I'd love it. I've always felt like if I'm gonna do it now, I need to like have like a full free like week or something where I don't have a lot to do, because I'm the type of person that if I start, I'm not gonna stop. So we're gonna do it one of these days. I'm gonna get like sick or something, and I'm just gonna watch all the Game of Thrones.
Man, let me know. I got it on. I got all 8 seasons on Blu-ray.
Oh my god. I should be coming to Dallas and hitting up this Airbnb you guys got. I just watch Game of Thrones all week. What are the other shows?
Black Mirror.
Sweet.
Yeah,
that show messes. There's certain episodes that mess with my head though, and I'm like, I can't watch this show because that's like, I don't even want to think that.
Yeah,
like there's that one episode where you could like rewind people's thoughts or something. The guy finds out that his wife like ended up cheating on him. I'm like, that's like that's not good. That's not good. That's not good.
It's that the concept behind Black Mirror is amazing. Like it's so mind blowing. Some of the episodes, a lot of the episodes, it's wild, man. It's like I like that stuff. I like that kind of like mind blowing, mind fucking kind of stuff.
Thought provoking content.
Thought provoking. Yeah. And the acting and the writing is very well done. Like they do a really good job with that. And then I'd say my other one is Lost. I know a lot of people don't really like that show.
I loved it. I loved it. Okay, even though it started making no sense at the end, I loved it.
Let me tell you, I probably watched that show. There's 6 seasons. I probably watched it 5 times.
Yeah,
and I think after the 3rd or 4th time is where I finally understood the ending. Yeah,
I had to like read up on it, figure it out. Like I get it and I understood it, but honestly, like it was a really good show, and like week to week, like even I watched it after the fact that it wasn't even on TV, but even at that point, I'm like every episode, I'm like I want to know what was gonna happen next.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy. Like
they get cliffhangers.
Always. Those are 3 great shows. Okay, so you're in school for theater because you've always wanted to act. So now you're playing football. You're in school for theater because you want to act. So where do we go from there, and how do we get to wrestling?
So I mean, like I told you, the wrestling. I mean, not the wrestling, the football stuff. Theater. I just I figured it was the right thing to do. To if I wanted to wrestle, because I didn't know when I first started what I was going to do after college.
Yeah.
But if I were to go the wrestling path or the acting path, I was like, theater is probably the best thing to take. Even though at first I was like, man, did I choose the right thing?
Yeah.
But honestly, all 4 years I didn't do any plays because I didn't have any time, because football is all year round. I don't know if people know that, but football is all year round. It literally is. It's all year round. It takes up all your time, all year round. Like I think people in college, well, at least at Maryland, they get a bunch of breaks and stuff like they get like summer break. They get like winter break and all that stuff. Football, no, you don't get a summer break. You don't get a winter break.
Yeah.
The only break we get is spring break for like a week.
Yeah,
and that's pretty much it all year round.
So,
yeah. So I didn't get
you were
to
taking the classes,
plays.
you were taking the program, but you never really got to act in anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you act in the classes and stuff like that. Like I've
Yeah.
done 4 years of acting classes. I actually just last month I've taken 6 acting classes. I took 5 acting classes in Atlanta and 1 in LA. Man, I'm on this shit, man. I'm not playing around. But yeah. So it was funny because like all the theater majors were like, "There's a football player as a theater major." So it's like, yeah, and people were like, "What?"
Yeah.
This is wild. But yeah, um, but it was a great experience. And if you don't know anything about acting, acting can be weird too. You do a lot of weird things in acting classes, so yeah, very weird too. But it helped me be more creative and stuff, and think about um, different things when it comes, like just different styles of acting and just everything. And I also got to work behind the scenes, behind the set, behind the stage, um, on some of the shows and stuff like that. Like I've done lighting, I've done created some of the sets, helped create some of the sets and
It's a
stuff
big
like
part of the
that.
production.
Production, yeah. So I've done that stuff too. But I'd rather be in front of the camera.
Yeah, no,
What I'm
100%. Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather be in front of the camera. But it's good to learn that stuff. So I ended up graduating. I got my bachelor's degree in theater. But my senior year, I still did just like my senior year in high school. My senior year, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like I was like, man, am I gonna move to LA? I've heard all the horror stories about moving to LA, and then people were struggling and stuff like that. Like, what am I gonna do? So I was thinking about going that route, and then randomly, out of nowhere, uh, this so one of the guys that was in my platoon, I deployed. His ex-wife now, they were married at the time, but his ex-wife now, she knew I was into wrestling and stuff. So she messaged me on Facebook. It was like, hey, like I know you're into wrestling and stuff. There's this wrestler, this WWE wrestler that comes to my job all the time. She worked at a,
Yeah.
a bar or something like that, or
Yeah.
whatever. She's like, this is wrestler that comes to my bar all the time, and he's like super wild and everything like that. But he's like super cool. I know him and everything. And she was like, yeah, would you? I know you're into wrestling. Would you like me to like link him up with you? I'm like, yeah. I was like, yeah. Who is it? And she was like, his name's Mojo. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's
He's
like,
super
oh,
wild. Okay, sweet. Yeah.
yeah. Bars, Mojo.
Yeah.
Uh, so I was like, oh yeah, of course, yeah, of course. And the funny thing is that he also went to University of Maryland and played football.
Oh wow, there you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
we already had something
So
in common. Yeah.
yeah. So she ended up giving me his info, and ended up talking to him on the phone. And sometimes we talk on the phone for hours, and he would just like tell me about the business and tell me about WWE, how things are done and everything like that. And then eventually he was like, man, like he's like, I'm gonna put a word in to try to get you a tryout. I'm like, yeah, I would love that.
Yeah.
And this is back in 2017. Yeah, 2017 is when I went. So I've only been wrestling for like 4.5 years.
So you already
Uh,
started at this point.
yeah. So I got my first tryout. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
you asked something?
No, go ahead. So you had your
Okay.
first tryout.
I got my first tryout June 2017, and I had never done any type of professional wrestling ever.
Oh, okay. So you haven't yet. Okay.
No,
Yeah.
no, and nothing ever, nothing at all.
Okay.
And but um, I had Mojo was telling me, different things about how to, about the tryout and how to, succeed and stuff like that at the tryout and everything. So I started training myself and everything like that. Not like wrestling because I didn't know anything, but like just a bunch of cardio, just anything. I was like carrying 200-pound like dummies on my back and running them with them up and down the football field and stuff like that. I was just doing everything to just get
You're
my
preparing
cardio
yourself.
up.
That's the story
Yeah,
of your life. You're just always you don't know what you're getting yourself into, but you're gonna make sure you're
exactly.
prepared. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
let me tell you, all that stuff I did not help. Because wrestling in-ring conditioning is totally different than regular conditioning. Let me tell you, it's totally different. So I got my first tryout June 2017. I did really well. I think it's like 3-4 days long or something like that. I did really well. I believe I was the standout of the entire tryout. Like this, I just don't understand. I don't understand people. This is what I'm talking about. This is the mindset thing. There was people there to like, dude, like they're looking at you to. This is a job interview. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And they
give
just
it your
weren't
all.
prepared.
And, yeah,
Yeah.
and they're like there's like people that they're like running between the rings. You know, between ring and ring, and just like keep it moving and all that stuff. Like, just they're telling you exactly what to do, but people will like not do it. And I'm just like, what is wrong with y'all? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is like, you know, I just don't get it.
Yeah.
I
Like,
just don't
how
get
do you come here thinking that this is just going to be this
it. Yeah,
easy task and you're going to get signed?
yeah, exactly.
Some
No, you
people
gotta,
rely on their looks, and some people rely on their you know their popularity outside of wrestling and stuff too. Sometimes, and that's not what it is, right? Was there anybody in that tryout that you recall that like?
Brianna.
Oh, there you go. Okay, yeah,
Brianna was in my tryout.
yeah,
It's wild because Brianna was in my tryout. We
yeah,
we started together, and we ended up in the same group.
yeah.
So
That's crazy. Yeah, yeah.
Brianna's like my twin. She's like my twin. She's born literally one day before me. So
Oh wow.
yeah, we're so alike. It's crazy. It's so
I
alike.
had my
But
girlfriend was like that. It was really weird. We're
yeah.
born one day apart. It was too alike sometimes, but yeah.
Um. So yeah. So I did really well, and they told me they're like, yeah, you did really well. Then like an
Yeah.
email something like that, you did really well. But we want you to go get training and experience, and we'll bring you back for the tryout. I was like, okay, cool. That's kind of what I was expecting anyway.
Yeah.
You know, so I ended up staying in Maryland, and I moved to Baltimore from College Park. No, I was living in Silver Spring. I was living in Silver Spring, which is near DC.
Yeah.
So I moved to Baltimore, and ended up starting at MCW Pro Wrestling up in Baltimore and stuff. And that's where a lot of people came from there, like Leo Rush, I think Mickey James, Lita, Velveteen Dream,
Yeah.
Joey Mercury, all of them, and stuff. So I ended up starting there, and they had 3 coaches. Dean, RJ, also knows the Bruiser. He passed away a little bit ago and stuff. But them two helped me a lot with the basics and my foundation for professional wrestling. And they kept telling me, they're like, oh, you're a natural at this. Like, you're gonna
Yeah.
be good. You're gonna be good. You're gonna be good. I was like, okay, cool. I didn't get it back then, but
Yeah.
it's just a lot. It's it takes a while to actually get it. But
Yeah.
and then the third coach was Joey Mercury. And so like I said, Bruiser and Dean taught me my foundation and like my basics of wrestling, and all the moves and stuff. And then Joey Mercury ended up teaching me the psychology and how things are done. And that dude is amazing. I don't care nobody says about him. That dude
Yeah.
is amazing. He's so intelligent when it comes to professional wrestling,
Yeah.
and even as a whole. Like I've had conversations with him. Like, bro, I don't even know what you're talking about, because it's like he just has so informational.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just completely changed how I think about wrestling. And then I got to give a shout out. Probably the person that's helped me the most in wrestling, and some people will probably might see it in my work, how I work and stuff. But Velveteen Dream, that amazing. Seriously,
Yeah.
he completely changed how I work, how I think about the work, and just everything that matters. And so he's been helping me like all 4 years that I've been wrestling and stuff. And I mean, and you could obviously clearly see it on his work on TV and stuff. He's
Yeah.
amazing. So like, yeah, he helped me a lot, and he helped me realize that, like, because at first when I first started wrestling, I was like, okay, I want to do this move, that move, this move, this move, this spot, and all stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he was like, nah, it's not about that. And he was like, man, he's like, if you really want to be, he's like, he's so intelligent when it comes to this stuff as well. He's extremely intelligent when it comes to wrestling. And he's like, look, man, he's like, I'm gonna tell you right now, the best wrestlers don't make the most money. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
let's be honest. Like he's right. I know everybody wants to be, I want to be the best wrestler. Cool, you can have that, man. I don't care. You know?
Yeah.
And so he was like, man, he's like, character. He's like, your character, your promo, and like all like your charisma, all that stuff is number one. All that stuff is number one. It's like, because everybody can wrestle, but not everybody can be charismatic. Not everybody has a character. You know what I'm saying? They're just being themselves. Like, I'm not like Ashante the Adonis is not me in real life.
Well, it's kind of like
saying,
everyone is training to wrestle, so everyone can kind of somewhat to an extent do that thing, but it's more of the why are you doing that thing that's selling to people.
yes,
right? It's the why. Like, why are you doing these moves? Why are you acting this way? Or why are you wrestling this way? Why do people want to see you wrestle? It's a big why that sometimes I think goes missing. Because everyone can do it. Not everyone, but everyone in the industry that's a part of that is able to do that stuff. Not everyone can do the same stuff. Not everybody can do a 450 splash and yada yada. But to an extent, everyone can wrestle. Right. And everyone can get through a match and tell you a story in that ring in a wrestling match. But it's the why that I think is missing for a lot of people sometimes. Sometimes I'll be watching a wrestling match, I'm like, that was great. But why? Why wasn't it? Like, what do I get from
something
it?
Missing, you know?
Yeah, there's something missing. Why? What? Like, it was a great match, but why were they going that hard at each other? What was the reason? Yeah. Like, is it just a competitiveness that doesn't tell you forever?
Yeah, I can tell you what it is, man. A lot of people don't know who they are, and there's I can tell you any wrestler, any person that's just coming up with wrestling, starting with wrestling and everything like that, figure out who you are, because once you figure out who you are in the ring, like once you figure out who you are as a character and stuff like that, you'll start to know what to do and what not to do in the ring, what to say, what not to say, how you react to certain things. And development. Once you figure out who you are, all that stuff, all that other stuff will start coming together. You know what I'm saying? And then that's the process.
You get in that mindset of your character, and why would your character do this? Why would he want to? Why would he want to wrestle this person? Would he try to run away from this person? Would he want? You know what I mean? Like, it adds to the element of. I always say this, and I think I might have said the exact same thing to AJ, and maybe even Kazim in the last interview I did. It always seems to come up, and I think it's been coming up a lot more now than it has prior. And I think that's actually really cool that people are starting to get it again. That we, especially right now, and this is from a fan perspective, I'm not in the business, so you tell me if I'm wrong because you've been there. I feel like we've been spoiled with good wrestling these days, especially in the last 5-6 years with streaming services and being able to watch the independent stuff online and 3 WWE shows a week, couple of AEW shows a week. We have all this wrestling that on a weekly basis we get spoiled with good matches. Show for show, it'll be a great match that happened on Raw, a great match that happened on Dynamite, and then another great match that happens on Rampage. And then a couple of weeks go by, and I can't tell you what happened 2 weeks on those shows because there's so many good matches, because we're spoiled with good wrestling that nothing really stands out no more.
Exactly.
And the things that stand out are the things you remember, be like, oh, I remember that match between CM Punk and MJF. I'm going to use that as an example because I was so invested in the feud and the characters and the story they were telling us leading up to that match. And that's why that match is going to stand out compared to that random match that happened on a Dynamite that some critic or someone online might be like, that was a 5-star match. But 2-3 weeks down the run, and then you're like, oh, what was oh yeah, that match happened. That was great. But there's no why to it. So you forget about it because it's lost in the shuffle of all these great matches. Because wrestlers today, in my opinion, sports entertainers, whatever you want to call them today, in my opinion, way more athletic than the wrestlers of the past, and they're giving us bangers on a daily, weekly basis. That it's hard to stand out, and I think now people are realizing to stand out and make your matches memorable. You need to know why or who you are, and I think you're making a great point.
Yeah, man. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, man. It's very wrestling heavy compared to what it used to be back in the day. That's why I bring up Eddie Guerrero, because Eddie Guerrero could do it all. And look at that goes back to me saying the best wrestlers don't make the most money, man.
Yeah,
and it's true. It's true. Look at The Rock. The Rock was not the best wrestler at all. You know what I'm saying? No. Let's be honest. He was not. But that dude was great. He was a great entertainer. Yeah. Look at him now. He's making bank. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Stone Cold Steve Austin hasn't wrestled in how long, and he's still one of the top features.
And honestly, after he broke his neck, he turned into more of a brawler anyways, because he couldn't be that mechanic he used to be. And he was still making tons of money.
You know, all these dudes had characters, they had charisma, they could promo, you know what I'm saying? They knew who they were, you know what I'm saying? And to be honest, the wrestling is last. I know it's pro wrestling, but the wrestling is last.
Yeah.
The wrestling is the last thing. You got to be able to draw people in to watch the match. You know what I'm saying? How do you do that? How do you do that? You do that with characters. You know what I'm saying? You do that with, you know, this personality colliding with this personality. Sorry.
Well, imagine going
You know
into a
what I'm
superhero movie. Imagine going to watching Spider-Man or something, and it was nothing but fighting scenes. Like,
Right.
you know, Spider-Man fights. You know, he saves people. You know, he's going to fight the bad guys. But you want that origin story. You want to know his love interest. You want to know who Peter
Exactly.
Parker is. And then once you know who Peter Parker is, the fight scenes are more entertaining because you're like, okay. But it's not the whole thing. And I think that's what happened with wrestling is that people, it's almost become a point where it's like it's just about the fighting scenes sometimes,
Yeah.
and it's not about everything else around it. It needs to be about everything else around it, so you care about the fighting scenes.
Man, I'm gonna tell you right now, this is word for word.
Yeah,
What Vince McMahon told me to my face on SmackDown. Well, actually, all of us, the Hit Row, is what he told us to our face. He was like, he's like, WWE is a movie production, and we're the actors who do our own stunts. That's literally word for word coming from Vince McMahon. You can quote that.
yeah,
like that's literally what he said. And I feel like most people don't treat it as that. I mean, I see people. I'm not gonna say names, but I see people that are on it's in WWE right now. That have been on TV for a while and are just figuring out who they are. They're just getting a character. You know what I'm saying? Like they're just doing it now. You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy because when I got into WWE, I was only wrestling for 2 years when I got into WWE, and I knew who I was going into WWE. I knew like that the stuff that you saw me doing on 205 Live and Hit Row and all that stuff. That's what I was doing when I came into the PC. Like literally the first like I signed August 14th, 2019, and I think that week I had a PC Live, and this is like in front of like all the peers, like not in front of a crowd, but all the like you know, like Bianca and Street Profits and you know like everybody. Yeah. And so in the entrance, I literally, and nobody knew who I was. Nobody knew who I was. In my entrance, I was like, because the first person that went out, I was like, man, I gotta pop them somehow. I was like, I gotta do something, and I just figured it out when I was making my entrance. And I remember I was walking down the ramp, and then I went around, and then I had seen Vanessa, right? So I kind of like walked by her, and then I kind of did like an about face, and then turned towards her, and I was like, "Take my hand." And so she went to go take my hand, and this is when everybody's like, "Oh," like you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I told her to take my hand, and I went to go kiss her hand like that, and then I blew it back in her face, and they popped like crazy, like huge pop.
Yeah.
This is all the people that are in WWE wrestling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I continue with my entrance, and I was like, "That's how you do it."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just like, I'm all about the entertainment part of it. You know what I'm saying? Because I can wrestle. I can do all the amateur wrestling. I've done martial arts my entire life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My dad has 3 black belts. His brothers all have black belts, and his oldest brother is a grandmaster. I've been doing martial arts my entire life.
Yeah.
I don't use that in wrestling because not really, not that much, because wrestling is a form of entertainment to me. It's an art, so it's like I want to entertain you. Right? I mean, I can entertain you but everybody does wrestling stuff. You know what I'm saying? So like that and you brought up standing out. That's how I always like approached it. Like I never got told that like I need to wear this, I need to do that. They never told me that, because that first PC Live, I showed them who I am, and they never said anything about it. They were like, okay, this, you know, who he is, you know, and so like that's why I wear street clothes. That's why, You know, I don't want to look like everybody else. I want to be my own thing. I want to be an individual. You know what I'm
Your
saying?
own style, your own vibe. Yeah.
Exactly. So like, I mean, no shade. A lot of dudes wear black trunks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And black trunks in a biker jacket or whatever. A lot of dudes wear that, you know, and a lot of people work the same. A lot of people move the same. A lot of people do a lot of same movements and everything like that. And it's just like, that's just not how I will ever want to do this and approach this. I wanted to be so different that like I stand out. Just how this
Yeah.
is all the stuff that Velveteen was teaching me. This is why he was so different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And everything. So that's just my approach to it and everything. And
so how did you come up with Ashante the Adonis? Was that a name you came up with, or was that like a name they pitched for you? And how would you describe the character?
So I had sent them like 6 different lists of names.
Okay.
Ashante was on one, and Adonis was another one. And then Triple H came to me. He was like, "What do you think of Ashante the Adonis? Like Megan Thee Stallion?" I was like,
Yeah.
"That's it."
Yeah,
I always want a different name. I
Yeah.
want something that stands out, that's different. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So like, I was like, "That's it." He's like, "Yeah, you're a handsome dude, so Adonis." And then I like Ashante, and then like Ashante the Adonis. I was like, "Yeah."
It actually sounds really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
What were some of the other names on there? Did you have some other names you were kind of fond of?
I mean, it's just a bunch of I just
Okay,
random first names, a bunch of random last names, a bunch of random names put together. It was a lot. It was like 6 different emails of names, bro. I can't even remember.
Yeah.
What was the other question you said?
No, that was. I just want to know if there's any other names. But I want to know what the like. How would you describe the character?
So I've had different approaches. When I was trying to figure out my character. So I tell a lot of people this too. I've told a lot of people this that are in the PC and everything. You can pull anything from anywhere to add to your character.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when I first started thinking about character stuff, I was thinking like Floyd Mayweather, Cam Newton, like how I want to dress, how I want to act, how, just but in my own way. You know what I'm saying? I was thinking about a bunch of different characters until one day Velveteen, he told me, he was like, because he knew what I was trying to do. So he's like, watch this movie. And I was like, okay. So like he actually gave it to me.
Yeah.
It's Superfly, the latest one that came out like 2017. Yeah. I watched that movie and I was like, that's it. That's exactly what I'm trying to do, but in my own way. You know what I'm saying? So like the hair, the way he dresses, and like all that stuff, it comes from that. And then I add a little bit of anything that I see. I literally pull stuff from everywhere to add, because like you're constantly adding to your character. You're constantly creating. You know, you can't, I can't stay the same. You know what I'm saying? I'm constantly adapting, just like people do in real life. You know what I'm saying?
And it's an admirable. I don't know why I was having a hard time getting there. It was admirable that you were focusing so much on trying to figure out this character, because you felt like you had the wrestling down. I feel like out of all the books I've read, out of all the documentaries I've watched, of like, the rest is from the past. Like I just recently watched Scott Hall's documentary after he passed away, because I was like, no, let's go watch Scott Hall documentary. And he was talking about how he took a little bit of everything from everywhere. Say hello to the bad guy, all the Scarface stuff, the toothpick from, Diamond Dallas Page. And he was just picking things up and adding them into his character. And unless you really dissect it, we just think it's Razor Ramon, but realistically, he took everything from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because he cared so much to put that package together, because at the end of the day, like, he was a great wrestler. He's a big dude, but he needed something that the fans could relate to or resonate to and be like, that's my guy.
That's the word, the key word, relate.
Yeah.
Got to be relatable. That's exactly what I had an hour and a half conversation with John Cena, and that's one of the things he told me. He was like, the reason why he got so over was because what he was portraying was relatable at the time.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, you got to be able to, people have to be able to connect with you. And that's what I believe Hit Row was doing as well.
100%. Either they got to relate to you so they feel like they can relate to you, or you got to be something that they wish they could be.
Yeah.
They could live through you because like, oh, if I was like that, I'd be like him. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, so it's got to be relatable. I mean, people, just how I think about it, people don't wear the same clothes every day. So why would I sit there and wear, like, I don't, people, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want. But
Yeah,
I think about this outside the box.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I can't sit there and wear black trunks every week, the same black trunks every week. Like, no, like, that's not realistic. Like, to me, you know what I'm saying? Like people change their clothes. So like, that's why I wear different clothes all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like I've worn shorts before. I've worn like, I wear overalls most of the time, but like I wear something different all the time because that's real life. You know what I'm saying?
And honestly, and I've been saying that, like, shout out to Troy, King Troy on Instagram. Like, he's been styling a bunch of these wrestlers these days, from Seth to Becky to Charlotte to etc. And I'm like, I'm like, they don't realize it, but it enhances their character so much that they're coming out looking different every time, wearing these crazy outfits, because it makes you look at them. Dude, growing up, like, the Macho Man was in the most colorful, crazy outfits on a weekly basis, and they're always different, but it made him stand out, and it made you remember him because of that. It wasn't the same stuff every week, and I think that's a big part of what the character is that when people see you, they're looking forward to see you. They're looking forward to see what you're wearing. They're looking forward to be like, what outfit is this guy going to come out here in this week? And I think that's really cool that you actually really cared about making the effort to do that, because I think that's something that's lacking sometimes, is people making that effort.
Yeah, definitely. People don't really think past the wrestling. I've been to PC, man. I wrestled just about everybody in the on NXT. Yeah, PC, man. And I'm not saying anything bad. I'm just saying, like, a lot of people don't think past the wrestling. And it's I wish they did. There's actually people that are on TV right now on NXT who actually have asked for my advice, and I'm not gonna say any names, but like they're on TV right now. They've asked for my advice, and I gave them my process on this, and it's working for them. So just saying.
There you go. There you go.
And that person was very, very, very new a few months ago, like fresh into wrestling, and now that person's doing really well. So, and there's still other people to this day. You guys
were doing really well when you guys were there too, in the show, and I think everyone realized that. Like, these guys. Let's talk about I've heard the story from two different perspectives. I've heard AJ's story. I've heard Swerve's story. How did Hit Row come together? Where were you at that point?
So, I think it was February or March 2020. I know that, like, AJ was like, "Yeah, let's do this group and stuff." It's AJ's idea. He was doing it on the Indies and stuff, called the Row and everything. Yeah, like, I know he said he wanted to do it originally with Leo and Bree, I think. Because I was like kind of doing my thing on 205 Live, and then like my single stuff, and then Swerve was doing his thing. But then, like, he was like, "Yeah," he's like, "What do you think about doing this hip hop group?" And I'm like, "I'm with it."
Yeah,
you know I'm saying, because like, so I think I started in March 2020, and we had I was after a show, a Full Sail. We had waited for Triple H. He's a very busy dude, so we waited like an hour after the show went off to catch him and tell him about and tell him about this group that we were putting together and stuff. And actually we had before we even talked to him, we had already put together like 5 vignettes in a music video already.
Oh wow, okay, okay. You guys came prepared.
We came prepared.
Yeah.
And we presented that to him, and he was like, "Oh yeah, this is really good," and stuff. And so they started putting this. We started working on the PC. Working the stuff out on the PC and everything. But I mean, we pretty much showed them like, "Hey, look, this is legit. Like, this is good." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we showed them like, "Look, we know what we're doing and stuff."
Yeah.
I've like I said, I've only been wrestling for 4.5 years, but I feel like I've been wrestling for like 15.
Yeah.
It's not about the quantity of wrestling; it's about quality. So I mean, I'm going off. I'm sorry. I've met a lot of people that are like, I've been wrestling 15 years, and then I get in the ring with you, and I'm like, bro, you don't even know how to talk in the ring. Like, you don't know how to communicate. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like I don't want like when people say that unless you're like Randy or like AJ Styles, and of course I'm gonna, you know what I'm saying? But like it's like people like I've been wrestling 15 years. I'm like, bro, whatever, okay, cool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so like we were showing them that like look, like this is legit, like this is, you know what I'm saying, like we, you know what I'm saying, I was kind of basing it off of like Eminem, the old Eminem group and stuff, but like AJ's big as shit. So like we were heels and stuff like that, and so that's what we were just doing everything like that. And then I want to say they started putting me on NXT. I think I was supposed to do like a singles thing on NXT, and then they ended up putting me with Swerve, and then ended up like after that happened with Swerve, like that they didn't even. I was like nothing even happened. I just went back on 205 Live. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, like I didn't get it because I mean I was cool with 205 Live and everything, which was I'm glad I did 205 Live. It was a very good experience. You know, wrestling all those guys and stuff. But of course, you know, you want to be on the big, you know, show and stuff like that. And I felt I was good enough to. I just don't know what the holdup was.
Yeah.
And but so after that, like you know doing stuff with Swerve, I ended up not doing nothing for a few months, and then just doing 205 Live, and then we were still doing the Hitmaker stuff because we called the Hitmakers at first. It was just me, Bree, and AJ. And then April 2021, they were like, yeah, like Triple H got us together. It was like, what do you guys think about putting Swerve in the group? And I was like, yeah, of course. Like Swerve and all that stuff. Of course, Swerve is really good. Like he's extremely talented in the ring. Like it's crazy. Like he's extremely talented. And I was like, yeah, like of course. Like all of us were like, yeah, of course. And it would just add to the group, you know.
Yeah.
And then so Swerve was cool with it and everything. And so they started like kind of like trying to put together like a package for it, like, you know, like what do we call it and stuff that we know. We went through the whole process of what, you know, the names and stuff like that. We ended up getting Hit Row. And we're like, okay, cool, let's run with this. And then I mean, to be honest, at first they wanted to. You're not gonna believe this. I don't know if they told you this, but they were supposed to be some other NXT Evolve show or whatever. They wanted to start filming and stuff, which they started filming, but it never got anywhere. So they wanted originally. They don't think they trusted us for some reason. I don't know why, but so they wanted to have Swerve be the leader, and they wanted like on TV for like NXT, and like have the three of us be like his posses or whatever, and then they wanted to have the three of us be like the group on NXT Evolve. And we're like, okay, but like we can do this, you know what I'm saying? Like we're very, all four of us are very, very, very confident, not cocky, very, very confident because we know who we are. You know what I'm saying? And when we actually put in the work, and I'll show you in a second what I mean. So that's what they wanted to do at first, but then Triple H ended up giving us the ball, and it was, I think it was May 4th or something like that. We debuted, or
that was the day.
We wore all red, and they were scared for us to do a 5-minute promo. It's like, bro, like we got this, man. Like, you know what I'm saying?
They give you guys free reign with the promos, right? Like as far as I know, they didn't really script your guys' promos.
They never, nobody ever wrote a promo for us on TV. Never, ever, not even on SmackDown. Never wrote a promo for us. I feel like people were a little upset about that, maybe intimidated that we got that freedom.
Was that a Triple H call, or was that just
that was a Triple H call? He legit, like I remember the first day with that March 4th, I think it was that day,
May 4th,
May 4th, They one of the writers gave us a script, and And we were like, what? And then Triple H was like, no. Like he ripped him a new one. He was like, nobody writes for them. They write their own stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because to be honest, they not saying they couldn't. They couldn't.
How would they?
Yeah.
It's no.
They
Yeah,
couldn't.
yeah. I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. There's and what I mean is I'm about to show you. There's no way because we know who we are.
Yeah.
And we know how we talk. And all four of us, we're all four different individuals that mesh really well.
Yeah.
And for example, like we like they don't even know like we didn't even scratch the surface because all four of us were extremely prepared, more prepared than I think they ever realized.
Yeah.
But we were extremely prepared for this. We waiting our whole lives for this, basically. So
yeah.
But like for example, like so I'm gonna show this. This is all my promo lines.
Oh wow! Like you were ready.
I still add to it today.
Yeah.
It keeps going. It keeps going, and all four of us do this.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? I could keep going. Like all four of us do that. All four of us have promo lines for days. They're like, okay, what do you want to get across? What's the topic? What are we doing? Okay, all right, we'll put the promo together, and we'll put it together in like an hour.
Yeah.
because all four of us are already prepared, we already know what the type of stuff we're gonna say, and have it make sense.
Yeah.
And everything, and yeah, we even did that on SmackDown. When before we got drafted, they were like, no, after we got drafted, they were like, we want you guys to have, we want you guys to do 5 promos. So like, one against the War Raiders, one against New Day, one against just a bunch of Usos.
Yeah, whatever type you want.
Yeah, exactly. So we literally got together like one night, like 1 a.m. to like 2 a.m. Literally put together all 5 promos in like an hour and recorded all 5 of them and sent them to them and was like, hey, like we got this. You know what I'm saying? Like we were extremely prepared. And it's crazy because like I actually wish that we got more in ring time too, but I think they realized that like, oh yeah, these guys are good at promos, and which is crazy because like that's like one of the most important things. It's like one of the most important things is promo. You know what I'm saying? Like how do you get people in the seats?
Yeah,
you got to give them the seats with this. You know what I'm saying? Like for them, that's why I said wrestling's last. Wrestling's completely last. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, like I don't know. I don't even know what to say, man.
You guys got drafted to SmackDown. You guys got super popular in NXT, right? Things were popping off for you guys, right? You guys were in the feud with Legado del Fantasma. You guys are doing all that stuff. And then you guys get drafted to SmackDown. You guys had no idea you guys were getting drafted to SmackDown, right? Like that just happened, right?
We kind of, nobody said it, but we kind of had an idea.
Okay.
We didn't know if it was going to be Raw or SmackDown.
Okay, but you knew there was going to be a call up.
We kind of had the idea. Like I said, nobody officially said it. And then they had like for that draft day, they had like everybody backstage pretty much. A lot of people in NXT that were backstage and stuff. They didn't like so before the show even started, the producers, one of the producers for Fox was like, oh yeah, well, welcome to SmackDown and all that stuff and yada yada. We're like, oh, he was like giving us a spiel and they're like, yeah, like I was like, oh, he's like, nobody told you guys? I'm like, nah, like, oh yeah, you guys are getting drafted tonight.
Oh wow, okay,
okay, cool. So we knew before the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like that was cool and we were like super excited, super pumped and everything. And oh man, it's so sad because like that was like I hit like a landmark like that.
Yeah.
Was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm on SmackDown now. I've been watching my life, and I have so much to show. We had so much to show. Like, bro, like we didn't even scratch the surface, man. Like that we did that cipher on the Great American Bash, man. Nobody's ever seen anything like that on WWE TV ever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like after the show. After that show, Beth Phoenix was like, she came up to us, she was like, guys, that was amazing. She was like, but how did you guys remember all that dialogue?
Yeah.
Because it was like, I don't know, like 10-minute segment with a lot of dialogue. And
Yeah.
you were like, well, we just prepared. You know what I'm saying? We just, we know what we're doing. We're very prepared for this stuff and very confident in our abilities. And we can play off each other very well and flow off each other very well. So it's just that we practice each other. Like we're around each other all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we would always go over AJ's house and we would practice stuff and like go over promos and stuff. They would just, people don't even know. Like we were doing so much work outside of what people could see.
You guys were like a
Yeah.
true, like in essence, you guys were a true group. You guys were a true band. This
Oh
wasn't
yeah.
just on television. This was like, no, this is like this was the squad for sure.
It was the squad. It
Yeah,
still is.
and I know, like you guys, like we're even talking to AJ, like you got that theme song was you guys. You guys did that all at AJ's house.
Oh
You guys
yeah.
produced like all of it. Like I didn't know that until I interviewed AJ. I'm like, that's crazy. I thought that was like a WWE producer. He's like, no, he's like,
Nope.
we did that in my studio and we sent it to them. Like,
Yep.
this was something you guys really wanted to work and put together. And was there any plans for you guys once you were on SmackDown? Because on NXT, you guys were hitting it all strides. You get called up, and then it's like, okay, big, like huge, like pat on the back on SmackDown. We made it with like this popular, and then things kind of dwindled out slowly.
Yeah. There wasn't like a plan with like a feud or anything, but they were saying that they wanted to get us, or Vince said he wanted to get us over, and then also Vince and Paul Heyman at 2 different times told us, we're like, oh yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun with you guys and we're gonna make a lot of money with you guys.
Yeah.
I was like, perfect, sounds great.
Yeah.
Obviously that didn't end up happening, but we actually made them a lot of money on NXT. Our first 3 months on NXT, we debuted, and 3 months later, we, like, I know Swerve put out a tweet and stuff. We legit made them over $2.1 million revenue in 3 months. Our merch was like sold out and stuff, and it's just like, damn, can you imagine? Because it's only like, there was at the time, it was only like what, 500 to 700,000 people watching NXT every week.
Yeah.
I was like, can you imagine what the revenue would have been if we did this on SmackDown with 2 million plus watching every week? Like,
yeah.
I thought everything was about making money, but I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
So then what?
So then obviously the story is what it is. Like they first, they released Brianna. Was that a shock to you when that happened?
Yes,
or?
We were all on the plane. As soon as we landed, everybody turns their phone back off airplane mode, and then you just got a text from whatever number it was, and saying that we've come to the terms of all these people, and we saw Brianna's name. We were like, "Yo, what is going on?"
Yeah.
And so I think John Laurinaitis was like, "Yeah, we're I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, at TV and stuff like that." And I mean, yeah, he ended up saying, he ended up telling us that, what did he say? He ended up saying, like, it's expensive to travel, all 4 of us and stuff like that.
Just some stuff.
Yeah, stuff, and stuff like that. And then, I don't know, the next 2 weeks later, we were gone. So I really have no idea what to say about all that. I just got the call, and I just like, so like I got the call. I was actually watching Thursday Night Football.
Yeah.
Thursday. So watching Thursday Night Football, because like usually we fly out Thursday, and they were like, yeah, you guys aren't. We were booked for that weekend, and then we weren't booked, and so we're like, okay. And then later that night, I was watching football. I actually missed the call. I got a missed call from, and then I called him back, and he was just like, and John Lenners was just like, hey, sorry, I got bad news. We're gonna release you from your contract, 90-day no complete clause. And I was just like, okay, thank you. And that's literally all I said.
Yeah.
And then I had to, I guess I don't know. I just had to process that for a couple minutes, and yeah, and it's just like, after like, I don't know, 30 minutes, I was just like, all right, how do I make money? I need to figure out how to make money. Like, what am I gonna do next?
Yeah.
That was complete shock. There was, one of my dreams and stuff like that, and just a complete shock. I don't even know. I don't even know like if I did anything wrong or anything. um,
Yeah,
yeah, it's just
kind of blindsided there.
yeah, kind of blindsided. It's just a complete shock and disappointment and stuff. You know, I felt like I put in so much effort and work. You know, not saying more than anybody else, but like as we talked about earlier, you know, I didn't just focus on the wrestling. I focused on everything that has to do with sports entertainment, and I feel like I just put in so much effort to get really good at it, you know, in 4 years, and then that happened. I'm just like, wow.
Did it kill your spirit briefly? Were you kind of anti-wrestling at all for a bit, or were you like, okay, well,
Absolutely,
yeah,
bro.
okay,
I haven't. What's today? What's today? The 28th, March 28th.
yeah.
I've probably watched wrestling once since November.
Oh wow.
Um, and it was like maybe last week. I didn't
Wow.
haven't watched. Yeah, I haven't watched wrestling since November, man. Yeah, I just like it just killed my motivation, man. I was like, man, I just like I mean, I'm still wrestling, obviously, and I still, even though I'm not watching it, I still go to a ring and I train, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying, just in case. But, you know, at least like once a week, once every 2 weeks, you know. And I'm also doing shows and stuff now too and stuff. And but yeah, it just killed my motivation. You know, I just put so much hard work and effort into that.
Yeah.
And just for everything seemed so good. Like they drafted us. Like we were the first NXT draft. Uh, excuse me, we were the first people on NXT to get drafted.
Yeah.
And, you know, they even Fox, like they told us Fox specifically asked for Hit Row. So I'm just like, oh, this is gonna be good. Like
Yeah.
you know, we in the bag. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like everything looked good, and then it was just like, nope. So, but I'm a type person like I said, mindset is everything. So, I say it is what it is. You know, it's out of my control. Another thing John Cena says, he told me, only control the controllable. That's all I can do, you know. So now I'm like, I'm still wrestling, and stuff. I can tell you the truth that like, it's not as motivating not being in WWE, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm still wrestling and stuff, and I'm diving into acting now. Like I said, I took 6 acting classes, 5 in Atlanta, 1 in LA, and actually in the acting class in Atlanta, I was in the top 3.
Yeah.
Were out of the instructor and stuff like that. He graded us and stuff.
I mean, maybe this will open the door to acting for you now. That's an act. You
Yeah,
went from the military to football to wrestling, then now it's like, okay, acting. You can conquer everything you wanted to conquer since you were a child.
yeah. And I might not have to bump anymore.
Like that. The story's been there.
Eh,
We did skip over one part, and I don't mean to jump backwards, but like when you guys did get on to SmackDown, you did have like an undisclosed injury that nobody knew about at the time.
what
Hence,
do
you
you
never
mean?
really got to. Did your appendix burst or something that you weren't wrestling at the time?
Oh, yeah.
As a fan, us fans had no idea. Nobody had any idea, but
Oh,
like, why
yeah,
isn't Tehuti or why isn't Ashante wrestling? And they were teaming up Swerve and AJ at the time, and then all the the dirt sheets started to make up all these rumors that they're going this way and that way. But realistically, you were injured, but nobody knew what happened.
yeah.
Um, that must have
So,
been a little bit of a blow to you too, because like you
oh,
got drafted
definitely,
to SmackDown and then you couldn't
definitely,
wrestle.
definitely, man. Because it
Yeah,
was actually supposed to be me and AJ versus those 2 dudes. But
yeah,
I wasn't cleared. But yeah, I was actually I had went out to eat. It was actually with Swerve,
yeah,
and that night, you know, I thought I ate too much. I was like, oh, I just got indigestion and stuff, and you know, like I just I was wait a couple hours, my food will digest, and you know, it'll be better. But like I just had this like pain in my stomach, and it seemed like it was getting worse and worse. So like by like 3, 4 a.m., it was like hurting really bad. And I was like, okay, this is not indigestion. This is something else. I was like, I need to go to the ER. So ended up going to the VA, which is the Veterans Affairs uh, emergency room. And, you know, they did a bunch of tests and stuff. And they're like, "Oh yeah, you have appendicitis." And I was like, "Oh."
Oh.
I was like, "Oh, really?"
Yeah.
And I was all loopy and stuff because they gave me like drugs
Yeah.
to like for the pain and stuff. So I was like, "Oh, okay." They're like, "Yeah, we can do surgery within an hour." And I was like, "Oh, I just got drafted to SmackDown.
Yeah.
I have surgery right now." They're like, "Well, if you don't have to get surgery, you can. They can give me something and hope that it goes away, but it's not guaranteed. But the surgery will fix it and stuff like that." And I was like, "Oh, jeez." So I ended up getting the surgery because it was the best option.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do anything for a month. I couldn't do anything for 4 to 6 weeks, um, which sucked.
Yeah.
So I was just sitting there in the PC, just watching people train and stuff and helping out, but I couldn't do anything. And then all the SmackDown stuff, I couldn't do anything. I mean, I could promo, obviously.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah.
But the match was originally supposed to be me and AJ, um, because I know they said that they wanted AJ to be like the singles competitor of the group, and me and Swerve to be the tag team. That's what they said for SmackDown. Even though I know NXT Swerve was the singles, and me and
Yeah.
AJ were the. And that also, just to clarify another thing, I know a lot of the dirt sheets and stuff and articles and whatnot always pin Swerve as the leader of the group. That is not true. I can tell you that right now. There is no leader of Hit Row or
Yeah.
Hit Makers. There is no leader. We keep telling people that. And if there were to be a leader, it would be Bree.
Yeah.
We all agreed on that. We all agree on that. Just that's Swerve was just the focal point when we were in NXT. That's where they wanted to go. They want, Swerve had the stuff with Santos in the single stuff. That's why it seemed like Swerve was like the leader, but there was no leader. There's no leader of the group. We're all equal individuals in the group and stuff. So just to clarify that.
No, for sure. And both guys said the same thing as well. Swerve said it too. Even when Triple H pitched him, he's like, he didn't want to be like some leader of some group. And then even Triple H said, he's like, no, you guys are like all equal. Like it's a group. It's not like that. And you guys are all on the same page with that. What are we up to now? Like what is you're doing the acting stuff, but in the terms of wrestling, what is Tehuti up to now?
I mean, so I just did a show in Baltimore, MCW. Last weekend and stuff. I've got this week coming up. I'll be at Wale Mania. Got a match at GCW. GCW, and a match on Reality of Wrestling this weekend coming up in Dallas. And we'll also be at WrestleCon as well. So you can catch us all there.
For sure. Have you did that show at MCW? Like, have you felt like you kind of found a little bit more of your passion for wrestling again? Like, did it get that adrenaline rush?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I love this stuff. Like, I even though I've lost a little bit of motivation, but like, I love this stuff, man. I'm pretty good at it too. So like, I feel like I definitely feel like there's a lot I haven't done yet. It's definitely not. I mean, I was on 205 Live for a year, which there's not really any. It's all cold matches. There's no storylines and stuff. And they don't even put the cruiserweight title on that. So it's not like there's really anything to really.
Well, it's gone now. I think it's NXT now.
Yeah. And then like, I had pitched I have a whole like singles competitor thing that I still.
What was it? What was the pitch?
Oh no, I'm not gonna say that because you're not.
Why not?
But you never know what happened. We'll see.
That's true.
You'll see it on TV if I get to do it.
Yeah.
But I got a whole idea that I actually pitched to the writers in NXT when I first started doing the stuff with Swerve that I thought I was gonna do, but then it didn't end up happening. But yeah, so I got a whole, I even got a whole singles competitor thing. So if that ever happens, but right now it's the hit makers and stuff. Yeah, you can catch us this weekend in Dallas.
If there's one thing you can say you learned from your time in the WWE, though, like a positive thing that you took from your time in the WWE, what would that be?
Let's see. Be patient.
Fair enough.
Yeah, be patient. I know there's a lot of people get there, and I mean, I went through the same thing. A lot of people get there. You feel like you're good enough. You feel like you should be on TV, but you're not. And you just got to wait. You got to keep waiting, got to keep waiting. But just be patient because your time will come, and it's better to be prepared for the opportunity than not prepared, you know. So everything will happen when it's supposed to happen. But yeah, just be patient because
I get it.
a lot of waiting around.
For sure. I don't listen. We've seen the comeback stories. Anything's possible. We've seen Jinder and Drew guys come back and have tremendous careers in WWE later on in their career. I think, if anything, hopefully anyone that listened to this, they got to know Tehuti better and they got to know your story a bit more. Because, like I said, I didn't know it that well either. And then I had AJ on, I had Swerve on. They're like, "No, you got to hear Tehuti's story." And I thoroughly enjoyed. Like, we went an hour and 50 minutes here. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed listening to you. Like, I enjoyed listening to the story. I was sitting here trying to be an interviewer, but at the same time sitting here as a fan, like, oh, this is crazy. You know what I mean? Like, so thank you for your time. I really do appreciate it. I hope anyone that listens to this understands where you're coming from and gets to understand you more. And they look forward to seeing you and seeing what you have to offer, because I don't think, like, we saw the tip of the iceberg in the WWE. Like, we saw you in Hit Row, we saw what you're doing, but, like, it just got all snatched away so quickly. So,
man, they ain't seen none yet.
They ain't seen nothing. That's why the best way to sum up is that they haven't seen nothing yet, and that's what.
We'll see what happens, man. You never know.
Yeah,
I'm a person. I believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep working. I'm gonna keep doing what I gotta do, but I believe it when I see it. So.
And I believe you'll get it done. Everything I've heard from you today, like, I have nothing but faith in you that you will put whatever work it takes and prepare yourself for whatever you want. And you've accomplished a lot of cool things, and you've done a lot of cool things. Like, I don't know, man. I was actually like, I enjoyed the story. I just enjoyed sitting here listening. This is great. Thank you for your time. Where can everybody find you on social media?
At Tehuti Miles on IG and Twitter. I don't really use Twitter, just so you know.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah. I'm more so on Instagram. I also have a TikTok at Tehuti Miles, but I'm pretty bad with social media, so.
That's all good. It's an interesting place to be on, anyways.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time. Hopefully we can catch up down the road again. I'd love to have you back on once we, some time goes by, and we'll see where we're at with this.
Yeah, absolutely.
See where we're at moving forward with the story that you have here. So it's crazy to see, man. From the military to the ring, just done it all. It's all about. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
Appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.